Well, I've done it, everyone. I've eaten ribeye steak twice this week with no intentions of stopping.
Damn, girl. I'm currently living real life episodes of My Cat from Hell and Hoarders, and I don't even like reality TV.
Who's the hoarder? Is it your cat? You know what? No, don't answer that.
My boyfriend isn't playing Wordle, Sarah. Is that a deal breaker?
Man, it might be. Have such a good day. Hello, world. Welcome to Have Such a Good Day, the show that wants you to do just that and nothing but that, y'all.
Episode 138. Sarah, I'm so pumped to be back. It's been a couple weeks and we're back in the saddle and it feels real damn good.
Yeah, it does. We had to take. We didn't technically take last week off because we promised everybody, and this was a Patreon post, but we made it public. So hopefully, if you care about the show, you've also seen it. That we would do two episodes this week. So we, kind of catch up and not feel like we've cheated anybody from a fun time that's supposed to help us all have such a good day. So here we are, and boy, are my arms tired.
Well, after this episode, your mouth is going to be tired, I'm telling you, because we are going to yak up a storm here today.
Yakking it up.
Lots
Heather,
to catch up on.
We do. It's so funny. Heather and I were actually having a conversation about this recently about, the certain times of day/week, depending on when you're most active, when you have to interact with people the most. Mm-hmm. And there are times where I'm like, I'm not necessarily tired to the point that I need to go to sleep, but I need to stop talking.
Yes. Oh,
this is not one of those times, by the way.
Hurt after, yeah.
Yeah, where I'm just like, I need to just be quiet and still.
Yeah, you have to unplug and totally close your eyes. Yeah, you just feel tapped. I think that's the sign of an introvert.
Even if I am online and maybe chatting with various folks or reading things or catching up on Twitter or watching a movie, just things where I'm like, I am engaging, but I am not talking right now.
Totally.
That is my recharge.
It's so true. And being doing podcasts, and you do more podcasts than I do, Sarah. Yeah, your mouth gets tired. It's draining. Here's a friendly reminder for all y'all that don't even know what you're listening to, but this is the show that unpacks the absurdity of everyday life for your entertainment. It's kind of like therapy that won't set you too far back. It's at least it's therapy for Sarah and I. And we appreciate that you're all here along for the ride.
We really do. And we hope that it is therapeutic on some level. It certainly is for us. And we'd love to have you along for the ride. And so, hi, thank you for listening. It's going to be so much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun.
So how are things going, Sarah, over at the ranch?
Yeah. I'd be like, Heather, it's been so long. Heather and I talk all the time.
We talk all
friends.
the time.
We're not going to pretend that we haven't seen each other in a couple of weeks. But
and we'll talk about things that we won't talk about on the show. Okay, I'm just saying.
That said, you're right, but not that many things. There's certain things where it's almost like an inside joke that nobody would really think was
That's what
funny.
I mean. We'll talk about our Wordle scores, and we'll kind of we'll talk about little things that might just bore you guys to tears, but it's really amusing for us to just talk amongst ourselves about.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, so something that has happened over the last week. Well, the last week is, so I sort of said this in jest that I ate ribeye steak 2 times this week. Now, you might say, I don't know, sounds good. Or you might be like, I don't eat meat, so it sounds bad. I used to not eat red meat for quite some time. And trust me, I'm not going to preach at anybody for food choices. Food consumption choice is personal, and we don't have to do that. But I'll tell you why my journey was the way that it was. So when I was in college, my first year of college, I went to a junior college, Santa Rosa Junior College, not that far from where I live now. And part of that was because I was a really good student in high school, and so it was free. And also, when you live in California, in the UC state system, which is extensive, huge state, it's like this funny thing that they don't talk about where it's like, I couldn't get into UC Berkeley right out of high school. Like I wasn't valedictorian, but you can transfer easily as long as you just like are already in the system, you know, a year later, and you're taking undergrad classes anyway. Long story short, that's not really what this is about. But my first year of college, I took it was some anthropology class, physical anthropology, cultural. I'm not sure which. I know I took both. Not really sure which one this was, probably physical. But the professor was very passionate about not eating red meat. And the reasons that he gave, I found very compelling. It had a lot to do with deforestation, particularly in South America, a place that at the time I had never been, you know, but I was like, dang, really did not think about that. I grew up as a pescatarian. We didn't eat meat in the house. We ate a lot of fish. So I've always been into fish. But when I got old enough to like, I don't know, have a high school job and stuff, it's like, I got money in my pocket. I'm eating a cheeseburger, you know, or various other things that, you know, are red meat based or chicken or whatever. And I took this class and the guy, you know, I'm also 18, probably even 17 at this point because I was a little bit younger starting college than everybody else. And I remember just being like, wow, it's hard to argue with this one, you know? And this is not something that is going to ruin my life. I can just stop eating red meat. So I did. And that went on for well over a decade. And as time progressed, I stopped eating anything except fish that, you know, on the meat scale. And that didn't last. I mean, I would not pretend to have not eaten red meat since, you know, that time. But for a while, I was really militant about it, and it was like, you know, very upsetting to get a dish at a restaurant where you're like, "Whoa, is there meat in here?" You know, that whole
or
thing.
Was this made
you know?
with beef broth? That is not okay.
Exactly. Yeah, and for a lot of people, that's still 100% not okay. I have just lifted my own personal restrictions on myself over the last, you know, ensuing decade plus. But I don't cook red meat. In fact, I never have in my life. I like a hamburger. Well, I like a cheeseburger. Anything without cheese, why would you eat it?
Yeah, exactly.
Really do. You know, that's obviously beef. But like a steak. In fact, I had a conversation just yesterday where there were, you know, 2 cuts of steak, ribeye steak, that was grilled from someone who's staying here, and he was like, "Which one did you like better?" And I'm like, "Are they different?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I made them really differently." I'm like, "I don't know. It tastes like steak to me. It tastes great, but it tastes like steak. I'm not a connoisseur of steak, but it also, Heather, and this is the point I'm getting to, is that it could all be kind of in my head, like a mental thing. But both times that I've eaten the steak, and I'm not talking like some 4-pound, like crazy, it's a portion, you know, along with a veggie kind of thing. I've woken up in the morning and been like, I feel kind of great. There's
like
iron
iron
in
or
lots
something.
of, and there's iron in spinach. I mean, you can get iron lots of different ways. There's also, you know, saturated fat and things that you don't want too much of in red meat. But man, it's like I needed it.
You know, it's funny. I have this conversation a lot. My sister is trying to get me to eat more beef. So she was up here for like a month, and we'll go out to dinner quite a bit. And she kind of elbows me like, order some beef. And same with my boyfriend. I think that you should eat more beef. And I'm like, okay. But like, I come from the same kind of history, Sarah, where, I mean, I was vegan for a couple years, and a lot of it was, I was grossed out by meat at a young age. I'd pick at my, you know, McDonald's hamburger. I was skeptical of meat. I thought it was weird to eat animals because I loved animals so much. And it went deeper than that. But yeah, so recently I don't cook beef. I eat a lot of fish and chicken and turkey, mostly white meat. But when I go out, I see what's on the menu. I wouldn't order steak. I'd probably go for a burger like you before I'd go for a steak. But I have eaten more beef than I am used to. And I totally agree with you. I think it's funny because when I first moved up here, I got this acupuncture session from this guy who's like renowned. Like everybody is like talking about him up here. It's like crazy. And the first thing he told me was when he kind of evaluated me, he was like, you should be eating more red meat. And I'm like, and I think it was something about like your blood, like it clarifies your blood or something. And I was like, wow, never heard that. But you know, back in the day, I read the book Fast Food Nation, and I'm not talking about like there's a movie made. I don't even know how good the movie was. I never saw it, but that book is so good, but it ruined me. I'm not joking. It like ruined me. So every time I look at meat, think of meat, eat meat, I can't help but think of that book. And it really does dissuade you from partaking in eating meat because, you know, beef, you know, raising cattle takes a shit ton of water. I mean, it's part of the reason I think why we're in a drought. I mean, we eat too much beef. I mean, I think it's fine to eat. I think it's probably good for us to eat beef, but I think we should all collectively cut back. You know, for our environment, if we do want to help the environment, and people are going to get really pissed when I hearing this because I know a lot of people are very into their beef. So, apologies, but I get it. It's like there is something about having that red meat that just it's good for women too. I think it's like, you know.
Well, and I mean, I won't get too, you know, graphic here. It's not graphic at all, but I mean, I have. Over the years, especially when I wasn't eating any red meat, where I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely not. I mean, you can't make me at gunpoint. I won't do it. And, you know, women say, oh, but, you know, certain times of the month, I mean, wow, you know, what a difference it makes. And I'm kind of like, I would look at them and sort of go, somebody told you that. You don't really feel that way.
You know?
And it also, I don't think this is a blanket, you know, there is no solution, a dietary solution for everybody. We're all really different people. And I think for the most part, people are trying to do their best. And I certainly struggle with just like going off the rails with like crappy, carby, you know, Cheez-It snacks, you know, and like
those don't clarify your blood as far as I know.
No, for sure not. So yeah, I'm not some sort of like health authority, you know, that you should all listen to. But I will say it just, not only was it pleasant, I also have this truffle mayonnaise. And I mean, everything is better with that on it. Yeah, it's just bathe me in it forevermore.
I have a slight issue with the texture of steak. I think that's why I would order a burger, because hamburger is obviously a different texture.
It's ground meat,
Yeah, there's something about, I still can't totally get into the juicy bloodiness of a steak and the way it's chewy, and I don't know. I think it rubs me wrong.
Luckily, I mean, whether or not people in your life want you to have more meat, I mean, it's a personal choice. So you know, before I had steak twice in 1 week, I mean, that to some people is like, Sarah, not that huge a deal. Like, I probably have steak once to twice a year.
Yeah.
And have for my entire adult life. Even
So are you going to start eating it more?
I don't know.
Think?
I'm not positive that I know. I mean, I can always learn how to cook something that I haven't cooked before. I cook chicken and fish all the time. I'm cooking chicken tonight. I feel like I'm pretty good at it, or at least the you know, I can bake a chicken and, you know, season it properly and be like, this is delicious.
Yeah.
But I don't really know my way around a steak. So it's a possibility. I'm not closed to the idea. So we'll leave it at that, and I'll keep y'all posted.
Well, it's funny. I still have a little bit of an issue with, like, I have my boyfriend cook all the meat. You know, we make a lot of chicken and fish, and fish doesn't really bother me, but I do like it that he handles the raw chicken, because it's just like last night I'm cooking. I made like a fried rice, you know, with egg, and we get this like really fresh local kind of chicken sausages. They're very gourmet, and they have like a bunch of different kinds. This one was like a Thai curry chicken sausage, so good. Yum. And so instead of actually chopping it up as like a sausage, he took the casing off of it, because it just makes it better. It's not as like chewy. And it really grossed me out. I'm like, can you do that over there? Because it's like he's peeling this casing off, and it's just, it still to this day does bother me. I'll eat it when it's cooked, but yeah, I think preparing it, I have to get to another point. I can do a whole chicken. I don't love touching the cold flesh, but I need to grow up, Sarah. I need to.
Well, Well, and listen, I know we're half kidding, but I mean, it's not about growing up and being like, eat your meat, Heather. It's like, if you don't want to, you don't. There are really, really healthy vegans out there that don't eat even fish. I've actually never taken it that far because, well, not only fish, but, eggs and cheese. That would be really hard for me.
Yeah, me too.
So, who knows? Still could happen.
I can't talk about
probably
being,
not tomorrow, but
I can't talk about being vegan without calling out my favorite vegan, Lisa F. I won't even say her last name, so you won't stalk her, but she listens to the show. And man, she's a good vegan cook, though. I think that's the key with being vegan. If you can cook and be creative with the ingredients that are okay for you, then it can be super delicious. And I love, I'll eat peanut butter smoothies, till I die. There's all kinds of things. But yeah, I guess it's about, what are you making at home, and are you making it tasty? Because, sometimes food can be bland. But Sarah,
yes,
I'm gonna launch into what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. But I do want to just mention, because we have not talked about creepy crawlies in a while, and I'd like to bring up a little story that made my skin crawl. So I'm in my studio. This is where I'm recording right now, and it's a beautiful little add-on. It has a bunch of windows, and there's one window right above my workstation. It's like a smaller window that has, that crank kind of when you open it, like it comes, like basically the window opens a crack, and then there's like a crank that you use, but you have to unlock the windows first. So on the right and left, there's two levers that you have to put up to unlock the window.
Yeah, I have a bunch of those in my house too.
Okay, so you're with me on that. Okay, so every day I'm cleaning off this major spider web that's like covering one of the locks. And like I cleaned it off yesterday, and I came back in today, and I'm like, it's like fairly close to my face. I'd say it's like a couple feet away. So I'm like, I look at it, and it's maybe a little too close for comfort. So I'm like, I'm going to take that web down. I don't even know where the spider, this has been going on for a long time. And I keep wiping this cobweb. The next day, there's a brand new, elaborate spider web. And I'm like, where the F is this spider? Like, where is he living? Because there really isn't anywhere that he could live, right? You don't see him with the naked eye. And today, so I'm like getting ready to do the show, and I'm cleaning off that spider web, and I start looking a little closer in the crevasse of the lock lever. Oh, my God.
Crevice for anybody who's lost Heather at this point.
The crevice of this lock lever, and there's two really scary spiders like tucked away living in this crevice.
That
and
makes me sad.
Oh, I know. In a way, I feel bad for them, but I also am like, oh God, it gave me the willies. Anyway, I had to share that because right before the show, I was just like, can I sit here? I don't know if I can sit here knowing that they're there. I've gotten better, though. I will say, I know that I was really a sissy when I first moved to the country. But now I don't check the pillows every time I sit down on the couch. I used to. When I first moved here, every single night I'd sit on the couch, I would pick up the pillows and look under the cushions. Yeah. I don't do that anymore. And maybe it's going to come back and haunt me, but I'm definitely more comfortable with the critters because, they're not really interested in you. They're kind of scared of you. So they're going to stay away from you if at all costs, They're not going to like come out and try to bite you for fun. But,
no. Yeah. There's some cobwebs in my house that I think are just cobwebs, not active spider webs. Mm-hmm. But I have talked on the show before at length about the spider webs that crop up, and I'm with you. I mean, I used to be it would keep me up at night. I wouldn't be able to relax knowing me there's
too.
A spider
I'd get
in here.
itchy, and my mind would go.
Or you're
places.
just afraid of them.
Yeah,
and
totally.
now, I mean, there's certain things that I can't tolerate. Like if a spider's crawling across my body, can't tolerate that.
No.
But that's
or in your ear.
Oh God. But no. But no. Actually, I was on I have a little porch off of my front door, and I saw what looked like a cobweb. So here I'm kind of with my bare hand, just swiping at it. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh gosh, spider! Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Sorry. Did not mean to hurt your house.
Yeah. No, I feel bad for them too. I mean, they're trying to survive like we are. But yeah. So I've actually been gone for the last week. I did go on another trip, and it was something that was more or less planned, but I thought I'd make it back for the show, and that's why we're doing 2 shows this week. So you'll get a second episode later this week. I don't know exactly when, but probably before Friday.
We make good, y'all.
We do. Yeah, we want to make good with you guys. So yeah, but I had a really, really cool trip. It was really different than the last one. And I actually saw some old friends I hadn't seen in quite a while. I mean, at least a good year. They both bought houses. These are totally separate friends in different cities that I saw like for the first time. So I got to actually like see how they live, like it was just really neat to, sometimes it's really fun to stay with people because you just kind of see how they live their day-to-day lives. And I learned a lot about them, new things that I didn't even know. For example, one of my good buds, Trout, that's his nickname, but Sarah, you know him. He is a very good cook, and he's quite a gourmet cook, actually, like more than I ever could even imagine. Like he made me dinner, like it was like a 3-hour, like it was a whole thing. But it was so cool watching him in the kitchen. He was talking to me and drinking with me and cooking at the same time, like, and just being he was so like, graceful and, stuff like that, where I was like, wow. And so it was actually like the perfect time in life to reunite with these particular friends. My other friend who just bought a house in Sonoma, I hadn't seen in a while. We talk here and there, but it was just like a really great reunion. It was good food, good vibes. You know how I like those good vibes. And I scheduled the trip. Usually I try to do my business first. Business before pleasure is, I guess, what they say. And then you can kind of get your business out of the way and then, whoop it up. But this time I actually did it the other way around. And I went into San Francisco and went to like some nice meals and, drank some cocktails on, nice rooftops and just did really city fun stuff with friends. And it was really great. I had a really, really good time, and then I did the business on the back end, which actually worked out really well for me because it was like I had to get like my Ya-Yas out, like first, like I just get them out of the way. Cause if not, you're doing business and you're just kind of like, grumble business.
Well, and you're just thinking about like fun later. I want fun now.
Exactly.
So you kind of can't be that present for the work stuff.
Exactly. And I felt way more present with the work stuff. I really was. Like I felt really in the moment, and I had to, so gosh, you guys must be so tired of hearing all my stories about, going through people's things and trusts and estates and all these things. But I did indeed have to go through my mom's house. It just had to be done, and see the fam on that side of, the state. And my sister Vanessa and I had kind of planned this, around this time that we were like, we need to go through mom's things. My stepdad is living in the house still. It's overwhelming him. My mom, no joke. I mean, she's a wonderful woman, love her to bits, total artist, total gypsy, but she was quite a hoarder. And I'm not very familiar with Hoarders. In fact, I haven't even seen an episode of the reality series. I'm not going to watch it because I think it'll disturb me. But
it's beyond anything you can handle.
I can't handle it. I mean, I was when I was
I can't even handle it.
When I was going through my mom, I always knew my mom was a collector. Like she collected. She had masks, African masks, and ethnic things from around the world. She had some really cool stuff. Their place looked like a museum. My friends were always like, wow, this place is cool, colorful, like interesting fabrics and stuff. And I knew she was a collector. I knew she liked things from around the world. But this was like, I mean, we went room by room, every space, every cavity, a drawer, a closet, a little cavity that's, I don't even know what you would call it, had stuff stuffed in it. I mean, it was just like, how many platters does one person need? Like just how many baskets? I mean, it was endless. And so
I think a lot of people also, and I'm in this camp, like, I don't really know when collection becomes hoarding.
Exactly. That's
and I'm
what
not
talking
sure.
About.
If you study this and are an expert, then maybe you do know. But I kind of know what you're talking about, and you sort of look around and go, this doesn't seem really healthy. But like, why?
Well,
like what? Like at what point does it become concerning.
Exactly. There is a fine line because I always thought, yeah, she's a collector. I mean, like sometimes I'd go into her closet, her clothes closet. I'm like, Mom, like it is so crowded in here. How do you find anything? Like, I mean, literally, like you have to like pull open, you know, like the hangers to even see anything. And oh, I know where everything is. And you know, I mean, like she was an artist. She had a lot of art supplies. That's cool. She painted a lot, so there was a lot of canvases and you know stuff like that. But she had, you know, collected things over the years and just didn't get rid of as much as she should have. And it just started to collect. I mean, there's a wood burning stove in the back room. I forgot how nice that thing was. It was covered. I mean, the whole area was covered in hats and baskets and dolls and trinkets and things. And it was just like, it went deep. I mean, when I thought I was deep, it went deeper and it was like wild. And my sister and I were just like, our heads were spinning. It wasn't like a negative thing. It was just like, wow, Mom kept this? I remember this. Like there was a lot of nostalgia. You know, I came across all my old photo albums and all my, you know, yearbooks and stuff like that. But, you know, it was a very interesting experience, very different than my dad. I think, again, I want to write like a memoir about, you know, going through people's things and really learning about who they are and what they love and what makes them tick. And it's just a very interesting experience. And man, I mean, I don't need to do it again in many, many, many years, and I probably won't have to. But, you know, it was real adult shit, you know? But I'm so glad I hit that pleasure to make that perfect mix of business and pleasure. And now I'm home and I'm ready to make some shows for y'all. And email us at havesuchagoodday.com if you know and love a hoarder, someone maybe close to you.
Or if you have like those,
or maybe you're a hoarder
yourself. And
you'd admit it. Yeah.
Well, first of all, thanks for sharing, because I know that's, you know, that's family stuff.
It's personal,
you didn't have to share it. But it's probably something that is going to resonate with at least a couple people out there, if not more. So that's cool. I don't, you know, like I said, I am not a person that would diagnose another person with any, you know, disorder. So I wouldn't attempt to do that now. But I suspect one of my closest neighbors, who I know, we're friendly, very nice person, has a similar, not even like a problem, I'm not even going to call it that, a similar tendency, as it sounds like your mom did, you know, where she is just constantly coming and going. She has a truck, coming and going with stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff goes, but the yard never gets cleaned out. There's like other stuff coming in, and I've never even been inside her house. And, you know, you just get a sense of like there's something going on here that I don't really understand. And yeah, I mean, it's not my place to be like, yo, do you want me to help you clean your house? Like we're not friends on that level, but it, you know, looking from afar, you kind of do notice that with people sometimes where it's like, you go, I think there might be, like a little too much nostalgia where it's like, there is a reason. And I have these things too, where I really don't like clutter. I'm pretty good at purging, but there are certain things that would not make sense to anybody else in the world where I'm like, I can't do it. I have to keep it. Because it means something to me, but it is junk.
Yep.
All it is junk. And I know it, and I still can't part with it.
Yeah, I know. I have the same problem. I mean, I did more like cleaning this weekend. I'm going to do a bunch more. I mean, you know, I've had to go through a lot of different people's stuff and sort of settle into this bigger space. But man, I mean, I need to detach from certain things. It just gets too much. It's like it stresses me out when there's too much stuff. You know, it really does. And I'm ready to let go of my 20 pairs of skinny jeans. Maybe I'll bring them down to see if they fit you. Maybe you don't want them. But
man, you know, it's fun. A friend of mine, they weren't skinny jeans, but she sent me a pair of, they were like vintage Levi's, like with holes in them, but they're old. Yeah. And, you know, she was like, they won't fit me ever, you know, here's to you. And they don't look right on me either. But when I cut them into cutoffs, all of a sudden I was like, these are actually pretty dope.
Yeah, totally.
So, you know,
I do that a lot.
There's always, you know, a second life.
There really is. In fact, I have on my long to-do list at the bottom. It's not all that critical that I do it tomorrow, but I have these cool jackets that are my dad's. They're like these kind of like plaid, like what do you call it? Just business coats. Like they're just like
Sport coat.
Sport coat. Thank you. I was like, what do you call those? Just like not tweed, but they're like I think they're wool, but they're really cool, and they would be really.
I know the look.
Yeah, and it's like if you could just tuck in, like maybe tailor it a little bit around the waist to make it more of a, you could do like a boyfriend cut for a girl, and I think it would be a really cute jacket. And then I could wear something of my dad's and not give it to a thrift store where it's going to be on some stranger. So yeah, I have.
You could even
plans
do
to
like,
that.
I mean, I say this not even knowing how to sew a button on anything, but you could almost do like an elastic like ruff at the bottom so that it was like kind of fitted.
Totally.
And it could ride up a little higher. I don't know.
Yep,
Yeah, I
exactly.
think that's my dad used to have sport coats too, and I would always sort of make fun of him and be like, "Dad, really?" But it's they're nice. Yeah, they're like nice quality items. They don't suck at all.
And I remember him wearing them. I even have a bunch of his ties because I just remember as a kid, he was like such a businessman, and he'd always wear a tie to work. And I just remember him that way, with his 80s mustache, and his like cool tie. And I kept a lot of the ties because I remembered them, I remembered those patterns. I want to do something with them. I mean, I might like dress up like Annie Hall one day, but if not, I'll probably do something crafty with them. But anyways,
I think you could pull off an Annie Hall look better than almost anybody. I support this.
Thank you. I've done it before, and I really like it. I think it would be really fun to go to like a wedding, but wear like a really cool suit, like a matching, like like one color, or like, I don't know, gingham or, something. Be so fun.
I almost did that for a friend's wedding. Heather, you were at the wedding as well, where my friend, who's a guy, who was getting married, we had a pact many years before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Where I'm like, when you get married, I'm a groomsman. Got it? And, and he was like, okay. And then when he got married, he's like, Sarah's a groomsman. That's just, we've already decided this.
Yes.
And there was some talk of sort of like, well, I wasn't the only one. There were like 6 of us, maybe 7. And, is Sarah going to wear a suit? And then it sort of became like, everyone's like, that would be kind of cool. And I was like, it would be. And then I looked into like the tailoring, because I'm a very small, compact person. Like there is no suit off the rack that's ever going to fit me. But I mean, a lot of people, you have to get suits tailored anyway. But I was like, too hard. Let's just do like a color combo.
I think I vaguely remember your outfit from that day, but that was a fun wedding, by the way.
It was fun. Yeah, it was great. It all worked out fine, but it was like I was really close to wearing a suit. It just didn't happen. But it still might.
It could be in the cards. Yeah. I mean, I think there'll be a few more weddings that I'll go to in the future. So yeah, I'll keep it in mind.
All of my dad's clothes are more or less long gone. There are probably a few kind of like sweatpants and things that can still come in handy for kind of anybody. But it would be kind of cool to go through some of that stuff.
It would be.
So
repurpose it.
You should.
There's all kinds of things you can do.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, but it's like if you feel like being crafty on a rainy day, kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can make pillows out of the material. My good friend up here was like trying to make some pillows out of his flannels, like a flannel material, and make like a comfy pillow. She never got around to it, but there's a lot of ideas. If you guys have any ideas, please let us know. Email us early and often at hi@havesuchagoodday.com.
Indeed. So speaking of things to do on a rainy day or any day, I wanted to talk about napping. Napping is in close your eyes.
Yeah,
it's not.
I love
it's
a
not
good nap.
bedtime. You're sleeping and then you wake up and then you continue your day on some level, right? So napping is different for a lot of different people. For a long time, I was anti-nap because part of my kind of ongoing struggle is reoccurring insomnia. And I know that I have to really like tire myself out to get like a good deep sleep. And, but I've talked about this before on the show. And so naps, even if I'm tired in the middle of the day, has kind of worked against me because it's like my body goes, well, hold on. You know, you slept an hour earlier, so now you're going to have problems sleeping. That's how it goes. Like, you're not just like getting another hour of sleep. It doesn't really work that way. Some people are great at napping. My mother, love her. Hello, Linnell. I don't think she's
Hi, Linnell.
I don't know if she's listening or not, but if so, love you. But she has in her house, she has a whole office, like, you know, extra bedroom. It's an office. There's a computer. There's multiple desks, you know, but she mostly sits at her dining room table with her laptop, you know, when she's on her computer, but kind of like me. I've got, you know, a whole studio that I'm recording this in right now, but I'm often just like, you know, just at the coffee table is fine.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and she's always telling me, she'll go, you know, I get that lull and I just put my head down on the dining room table for like 10 minutes.
Wow.
And then I wake up and I feel so much better. I'm like, you like, and your back's all like
That's
hunched over
amazing.
at the dining room table. Like, and like, what do you like push your laptop out of the way? Like, there's nothing that sounds good about that to me. Like, I'm not sure I would be capable of that. Like, it sounds like going to sleep on an airplane, like on your like, you know, lunch tray in front of you. But she was like, oh yeah, you know, it does wonders. So as of late, just because my, you know, work and weekends have been a little bit more chaotic than usual. So it's like, I don't necessarily just go like, cool, Friday night, I'm just chilling, you know, like see y'all on Monday. Like I'm just going to chill. There's kind of just stuff that's been going on and a lot of it is great stuff, but it has cut into my routine to the point where it's like, I've been starting to get kind of tired. And like, sometimes like when I'm tired, it's like, I've only been up for a couple hours. I've
Yeah.
had coffee.
I know.
And it's like, oh, I kind of just want to like maybe
like that
lay back down.
midday snooze. Yeah, I get that sometimes.
Yeah, but it's somewhat early in that midday, you know, where it's like, man, I really need some sleep. So anyway, the other day this is one of those times, and it's kind of, you know, when I know, Heather, you always talk about, we joke about how I love reality TV and you do not. And one of the
true.
things that I love about it is that there are certain kinds of programs that, sure, I get like a fun, you know, just like candy boost, you know,
Yeah.
from stuff, but it's more background things where I'm like, I don't really care what the details of this 1 hour program are. You know, I might kind of watch it while I'm cooking dinner, or I might kind of get on the couch, like get a nice blankie. Ralphie the cat comes up, you know, Otis maybe too. And then I just sort of like watch it and then close my eyes for a minute. And that is a nice feeling. You know, we all know that feeling where you're like, I'm slipping and I'm fine with it.
Yes,
Bye.
totally.
But I have lately been doing this to the point where it's like if I don't set an alarm for myself, which I feel like is like not the point of napping. Like, I don't want an alarm after napping. Like, it'll just be so disruptive. I like already have to like deal with that in the rest of my life. But if I don't do that, I've been like sleeping way longer than I mean to. Like, have you ever woken up and you're like, is it tomorrow?
Yes.
Because it got like evening got late enough that you don't know if
Yes.
it's like 6 p.m. or 6 a.m.
And I'm so groggy. That's the problem with naps. I'll kind of almost feel sick when I wake up. I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh, like I'm
it's
just
so hard to
like,
get back
ugh.
to it.
It is. You get like
And-
cranky kind of.
Yeah. And normally I'd say, well, my solution is, you know, to not nap unless I'm jet lagged or there's some really good reason that I have to do it. But yeah, I don't know how to nap responsibly where
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the alarm would be the answer. You know,
I
or,
set my
or have
alarm.
somebody physically shake me awake.
I actually do that when I take a nap because I'm like, if I'm gonna fall asleep at 4, I'm like, I gotta make sure I'm up by 5:30, like, because I, you know, like it's gonna get dark or whatever, and I'll set my alarm. I'll give myself an hour or, you know, whatever I think I need, and sometimes even like I fell asleep the other day for like 10 minutes, like they call it a disco nap, and sometimes this is a great little tip that my boyfriend told me the other day. He's like, he'll go into the living room and turn on a silent movie, like a Charlie Chaplin movie or something.
That's very specific.
It is very specific.
It's
Agreed.
adorable though, and I get it. Like, it's sort of, if I don't do this very often, but if I turn on subtitles for something, well, some things just are subtitled because
Yeah.
it's in a language I can't understand otherwise. But like, you can turn on subtitles for almost anything, and then turn the volume down where you're kind of like you're reading, and then you're like, ooh, bye world.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's funny. I actually watched a 3-hour Japanese movie over the course of 2 nights. I finished it last night. You probably seen it. It's
Drive
on
My Car?
HBO. Yes, Drive My Car.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
it's so you've seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I liked it a lot. I did have to split it over 2
Took
days.
me a few times as well, though.
Yeah,
Took me a few times where I was
it
like,
was good.
I think I missed the end.
Yeah,
I should
I
like
think
start in the middle and go.
It
okay.
could have been a half an hour like shorter, but what I loved about it, I don't know if you've ever written or read anything by Haruki Murakami. He's one of my favorite writers, and I mean, it really
Wind Up Bird,
read.
I've
yeah,
read.
Wind Up Bird. It read so much. I mean, it was very him, and I just loved that. I mean, it was. It's slower, and you have to read subtitles, so you have to be not tired to watch it.
And be
but
into
it is
that.
a good watch. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what's
Very
amazing
deep,
to
very
me,
profound.
how many people, it's not because they don't want to watch a movie in a foreign language, but they're like, the subtitles are really hard for me.
I think
Because it's just a part of the brain, like even if you're not tired, it's a
Yeah.
part of the brain where you're like, I'm focusing on that too much. Where
Yeah.
for me, I know it probably takes me slightly out of the details of what is visual otherwise, but I don't even think about it. Like if I'm into
No.
it, I'm like, it's cool. It's almost cooler
I
in a
agree.
way.
I agree. And I think it's like it's kind of like, those times in your life where you haven't been reading that much. Like maybe you're not picking up a novel. You're not, you get out of practice and like it makes you tired thinking, well, pick up a book. Oh, that makes me tired. But like, yeah, I think some people are like, they're not used to reading subtitles. So they think it's going to be an awful experience, but it isn't. You get used to it and you're missing out on a lot of great foreign movies. I mean, this movie, it's interesting. It is getting a lot of accolades and I think it does, deserve it. I don't know, it's an interesting one to talk about. It's very cerebral and I just wonder how people are going to respond to it because I think there's so many things out there that aren't and people are used to just like watching the next Netflix thing, while they play Wordle
Yeah.
on their phone. And I'm just curious to know if people really have the endurance to watch something like this.
Well, and we've totally talked about this. I talk about this with friends all the time where it's like, I mean, we're talking about cinema right now, but just sort of anything that requires that, okay, it needs me to focus 100% on this.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a language thing or, some sort of storytelling or reading a book, same thing. It is always easier for me to be like, ooh, I don't know. I kind of have other things to do right now and I kind of want my laptop open. So let me put on something where like, it doesn't really matter if I lose some details.
You don't need to have your eyes glued to it.
You can't do that with a movie like Drive My Car.
No.
And you also can't nap, which is why I'm like, I kept waking up being like, I don't remember the ending. Oh God, I like slept through the whole ending twice.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a long movie, but so kind of switching gears from the movie thing, but Sarah, you and I talked a little bit online about this. I don't want to get too bogged down in talking about it because I know not everybody listening to the show is interested to hear about our pet problems, but I did take my cat to the vet recently to just get him checked out. He's about 9 years old. He's very interested in going outdoors and he jets out the door when we open it. We have to be very careful because he is hell-bent on getting out there. And it's kind of a new thing. I mean, maybe it's a little bit of the spring in the air and like the birds and, he's gotten the sense, he sniffs everything. He's really into the grass. And I think because he's gotten out there a couple times just by mistake, he's gotten a whiff of like the outside world and he wants more and he's obsessed. And it's been a real nightmare because I go to the vet, you spend $300, whatever. You get the blood test, you get all the physical. You want to make sure that he's physically okay, that it's,
Yeah.
I already knew it was a behavioral thing because he's had some behavioral problems in the past. And so I didn't think it was a physical thing, but I wanted to just make sure because it had been a year and a half or something.
Yeah.
And
of
so,
course. That's good parenting.
Exactly. Good bill of health. Had a long talk with the vet. I've gone through this before with vets where they have, it's hard to pin down why a cat is having behavioral issues. It could be a lot of things. And you go through all those steps. You get another cat box. You get him more toys. You get him a cat tree. You play with him more. I don't know. There's all kinds of tricks, but I've tried everything. You get those pheromone collars and the pheromone plugins. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times people have said, have you tried those Fellaway things? It's like, I have spent hundreds of dollars on those things. Like, they might work a little bit here and there, but it doesn't last that long. And he just goes back to his old tricks. So,
and of course, everyone's trying to be helpful, but you're like way ahead of you.
I'm way ahead. Yeah. Like, I have gone through this. I've tried everything in the book. And so this is a big task for y'all out there, audience wise, because I'm going to be curious as to what you think. But I've tried most of the things you might want to recommend. So yeah, essentially they always tell me about the pheromone thing, changing certain habits, food, whatever. There's a boredom factor, so I'm trying to get more creative with his toys. But so one of the things she told me to do, which I thought was interesting, this was like a big tip. She said that I should look into building a catio, which is a patio for a cat where they can go through the window.
Yeah. Have like a cat door and an outside area, but it's not like, oh, they're running free.
No. And they can maybe touch the grass, but they're kind of locked in,
enclosed,
whatever. Yeah, they're enclosed. And the thing is, that sounds great in theory, but that's a pretty big investment, not just financial, but you're basically making this weird cat dwelling attached to your house. Aesthetically, I don't want to do that. And plus, that's I got to get someone to build something, or maybe I get one on Amazon. I don't know. But I know my cat. Sure, that sounds great. He's going to love it for the first week, and then he's going to be bored and he's never going to go in there.
Or try to get out of it the whole time.
Or he'll try to get out.
A whole another issue where you have to be watching him to make sure he's not figuring out how to chew through wires.
He's super smart, because he will chew anything. And the thing is that I like that idea, in theory, but actually going through with the steps to doing that is quite a commitment. That's a big investment of my time and money and material and help from somebody, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, well, thanks for that. But she also told me to watch episodes of the reality show My Cat from Hell, which is on one of the it's Animal Planet, I think maybe it is. I don't remember what network
I've never
it's on.
seen the show.
Oh, you should check it out. You might like it.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
This crazy guy is really punk rock, and I mean, honestly, I've only seen a few.
Whisperer or whatever.
Yeah, and he drives this crazy car. He's a little what do you call it? That rockabilly
eccentric?
Or something. Very eccentric for sure. And I mean, I shouldn't even
say no more.
Really describe him, because I only saw a couple episodes, but I was like, okay, I'll watch a reality show. I don't even like reality. But I did. When I was at my sister's in Santa Cruz, I watched a few episodes, and it's true. I mean, he's dealing with cats that have these behavioral issues, and they're very complex, and you have to go through all these different steps to see what it is that's pissing him off. So I'm very close to sending this guy a pitch about my Charlie, because I'm a problem solver. I really am. But this one is really stumping me, because I have gone through everything. I even got a second desk chair. Because I can't once I sit in my desk chair, they're all up in my grill. They're all trying to get on my chair. So I move over to my stool, and then I get up once, and then someone's on my stool, and I have to stand and work.
So to be clear, you're talking about one cat from hell, but you do have two cats. So
I do have two
sometimes
cats.
they work in tandem to annoy you.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. And I think they're kind of at each other's throats right now, and I think it's just weird territory thing. I think that the little one just wants to play, but then the older one just is like, oh, you're an annoying younger brother, get away from me. And then they hiss, and it's this whole thing. And that could be what's causing more of these problems.
Yeah.
But again, I've tried almost everything except for getting a behavioralist to come out to the house, which I'm tempted to call the guy from My Cat from Hell. But if you guys have any advice, do I suck it up and just let him go outside? Which the vet did not, was absolutely do not let him outside. Because I mean, we've got lots of wild animals, and he's going to eat all the birds, and it just wouldn't be good. Or do I medicate him, which I'm not a big fan of medication, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. If you have any, email us at hi@havesuchagaday.com. Thank you very much.
Indeed. We love your email. We say this every week, but we really mean it. If you ever have thoughts, anything resonates with you, or even you listen to us and go, no, I don't agree.
I don't like hearing about spiders. Stop talking about spiders.
Or, you know, you missed something, you know, a crucial part of this, you know,
story,
potential solution or something. Yeah. We would love to hear it. You know, collaborative.
We have shortcomings. Yeah, we are not perfect. We are not robots.
I'm pretty perfect. But speaking of it being a village of sorts that we're all in, if you are not a patron, we would love to take this moment to remind you that you can become a patron, directly support the show, get ad-free episodes and fun other goodies, including joining our Discord. If you can part with $5 or more per month, we hope that doesn't break the bank. We know that's not possible for everybody. That doesn't have to be your pledge, but I'm just throwing it out there as a really fun way to be talking on the back channel with the rest of us on Discord. It's such a good crew. We've all gotten to know each other fairly well, I think, and we always welcome new community members. So patreon.com/havesuchagoodday is where you can find out more about that.
Well put, Sarah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Henry.
and we actually Henry wrote us a couple weeks ago. We mentioned, he was really interested in our pie conversation. He did a follow-up because we were like, where do you find key lime juice? Like, what?
Right, yeah, because I was like, I think it's just lime juice, but
it's not.
I think it's special and different.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. I'm not going to read off the link, but he said, I'll never get you two confused because, Sarah and I are always talking about.
We joke that people have always confused us, and
exactly.
our voices are not the same. If you know us, they're not, but people have always confused us as long as we've known each other.
We've confused ourselves with each other, if that makes sense. I thought I was you last week or whatever that was.
Yeah, I will remain Heather.
But then he continues, continues to say his mom was Sarah. His late wife's dog was also named Sarah. And this Sarah, just as a side note, Sarah used to get so irritated with how many people and pets and relatives were named Sarah. You still do.
I am currently very irritated with it. I mean, that has only gotten worse over time.
Yeah, there's a lot of Sarahs. But he said that his wife was the one who found the screensavers way back in 1998. And he says, Sarah, I remember your first day on that show. You both are such a delight to listen to. Have such a good day. That's very sweet, Henry.
Henry, thank you.
From Livonia, Michigan.
Livonia. We're gonna get up there one day. We're all gonna have some pizza, or I don't know, whatever you want to eat.
Nachos.
I just feel like pizza's like always a crowd pleaser. Nachos. Also, maybe a steak, ribeye. Anybody?
Let's do it.
First of all, Henry, thank you for the kind words. Thanks for not getting us confused. It's not something that we're been out of shape about. Don't worry about it. No. But yes, your mom being named Sarah, and also. Your late wife, his dog named Sarah, is funny to me because I have a friend whose mom used to have a dog named Sarah, and the dog who has since passed away. But when she got the dog, it was not that long ago. Maybe it was 10 years ago or something. And I remember her saying to me and I don't know my friend's mom. I've never met her, but she was like, this is kind of weird, but my mom named her dog Sarah. And I was like, well, what kind of dog is it? And I don't remember what the answer was, but like a larger dog kind of thing. And there are certain names that I just feel are slightly odd pet names. Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
so I was trying to and part of it is Sarah, I'm just going to be I've got a trigger. It's a trigger name for me for obvious reasons. But I was like, okay, what's another weird dog name? And when I mean weird, I don't mean wrong. I just mean weird for me.
Sure.
But if your dog was named Jason, I'd be like, oh, is that in tribute to somebody? Or, you know, because it's like, it feels like such a human name.
It's
and
so
maybe because I
human.
just know a lot of Jason.
Okay, so I think we've talked about this on the show, but I met a really fat cat named Brian, and I think I laughed for like an hour. I was just like, Brian, his name is Brian, and I just, yeah. And didn't one of our friends? Oh yeah, Prager. He had a snake named Timothy or something, and it
Still does. Yeah.
That
does.
is hilarious to me because that is such a human name, especially for a snake. I find it very amusing when people do that. Like, I like it. But Sarah is an interesting one.
It's Sarah to me is a strange name for a dog, but it's like, if you love the name and or it's something that you had decided that you were going to name any sort of pet, like, it's fine. Like, more power. But it just comes across as a little weird to me, where I'm like, it's so kind of human and old school and biblical.
Sarah seems like someone who would have skin and not fur. You know, like Sarah doesn't feel furry to me.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, Sarah Bernhardt or something. I don't know. I don't know where this all comes from, and I don't know why some names don't seem like animal names. Like, are you going to name your dog Jonathan? Maybe.
Very, very amusing.
There's probably somebody out there being like, yeah, I did. And that's great. But to me, I'm like, oh, I got to see this dog. You know, like, I need little Johnny dog to, like, show me that he, you know, can encompass that name appropriately. But anyway, you know, back to your original email, Henry. Thanks for sending it. Nice, kind words from you. And,
yeah, and see, look at what kind of conversation it triggers. See, this is great. This is good fodder to talk to y'all about. So write us now, tomorrow, as soon as you can. And you
Yesterday.
have a free moment.
Yeah, in your dreams, while you're napping. Just do it. Do it. We can't ask you enough. What we will do, though, is wrap up the show.
We will.
It's been a lot of fun.
Fun.
And we are going to do it again sooner than usual.
Yeah.
Because we got another episode to bang out this week, and we'll keep everybody informed on when to expect that. But we're pumped. It's good to be back.
Great to be back. Let us know what you want us to talk about, and we're here for you. But in the meantime, I will remain Heather, not Sarah. Thank you very much.
And I will be Sarah, not Heather. If you've been confused this whole time, confuse yourself no more.
Have such a good day.
And yes, have such a good day. See you soon.
Ciao.